The following is disturbing content and viewers' discretion is advised. Welcome to episode 1 of Macabre Monday. The following case is a rare one because unofficially it's unsolved. However, thanks to a few very diligent individuals, we now sort of know what happened. Stick around till the end to find out. On the morning of June 6, 1984, Sherry Lynn Marler, a 12-year-old girl, went with her stepfather to Greenville, Alabama, where everyone was familiar with one another. Her stepfather handed her money to purchase a soda from a nearby gas station, while he conducted his business at the bank, instructing Sherry to rejoin him by the truck afterward. Little did her family know that this would be the final occasion they laid eyes on her. Sherry Lynn Marler came into the world on August 18, 1971, as the third child of Betty and Ralph. However, Sherry's childhood was marked by her parents' separation when she was young. Subsequently, Betty remarried a man named Ray Stringfellow in 1979, a retired Army sergeant who had transitioned to the tranquil life of farming. The Stringfellow family made their home on a vast 400-acre farm, cultivating various crops, approximately 12 miles away from Greenville, Alabama. Having a robust and outdoorsy spirit, Sherry harbored a dislike for school and had a deep passion for farming, earning her the nickname Little Farmer. One notable accomplishment was mastering the operation of a plow. Despite her aversion to formal education, Sherry was a cheerful individual who seemed to share a positive bond with her family. The morning of June 6, 1984 unfolded routinely for the family. Betty, employed as a waitress at the Waffle House, departed for her job at 7 a.m. On this particular day, Ray had errands to address, and Sherry expressed interest in accompanying him. One of Ray's stops was at the First National Bank in Greenville, where he needed to extend a loan. Sherry, still bearing the dust from her morning chores, opted not to join her stepfather, but mentioned she was thirsty. Ray then handed her $1 and suggested she buys a soda from the vending machine in front of the Chevron gas station across the street from the bank. He told her to meet him back at the truck. Sherry agreed, and the last time Ray saw her, she was crossing the street toward the gas station. Approximately 15 minutes later, after completing his business at the bank, Ray returned to his pickup truck only to find Sherry missing. Growing increasingly anxious, he started searching, but found nothing. Concerned, he reached out to Betty, asking if Sherry had stopped by at the Waffle House, but she didn't. After another half hour of futile searching, Ray officially reported Sherry as missing. Efforts to locate the missing Sherry Marler involved extensive searches by both air and land, conducted by law enforcement and volunteers. Unfortunately, these efforts yielded no results, and the whereabouts of the girl remained a mystery. Unsurprisingly, the initial focus of the police centered on Ray, as he was the last person to have seen Sherry. In the tight-knit community of Greenville, no one could recall encountering either Sherry or any unfamiliar faces on that fateful morning. Investigators reasoned that a stranger would have been conspicuous and out of place in such a close community. Police Chief Lonzo Ingram was skeptical, stating, "I have had a hard time believing that she was snatched off by a stranger in Greenville." While Ray denied any involvement in his stepdaughter's disappearance, he acknowledged the possibility that she was taken by someone she knew. He knew how resilient Sherry was. It was clear that an attempt by a stranger to forcibly abduct her would have been met with significant resistance and noise. Ray and Betty, both refusing polygraph tests, felt the police were biased against them, and they questioned why the theory of stranger abduction wasn't given enough consideration initially. They asserted that Sherry did not run away or elope with a boyfriend. Police Chief Ingram defended the request for a polygraph test, stating, "It looks to me like standard police procedure since he was the last person to see Sherry alive." Law enforcement committed to the investigation refuted claims of inadequacy. Investigator James Rhodes, detailing the extensive efforts, commented, "I must have walked 25 miles of swamp in search of her." The search in question spanned hundreds of acres, including an examination of an abandoned well which yielded only deceased snakes. Local police dedicated hundreds of man-hours scouring the fields and wooded areas of Greenville to no avail. In the days following Sherry's disappearance, a series of unsettling sights began to surface. Multiple reports described a girl resembling Sherry, accompanied by an older man approximately 50 years old, standing at 5.8 and possessing a weathered complexion. Witnesses became alarmed as Sherry appeared visibly distressed and in a state of confusion. At a truck stop in Conley, Georgia, she was reportedly seen referring to the unknown man as B.J. The last reported sighting of Sherry in that year occurred at a mall in New Orleans. It wasn't until 1986 that Sherry's case gained heightened media attention, particularly after being featured on the television program Missing 3. Have you seen this person? Following the initial broadcast, calls poured in from various parts of the country, including Boston, Birmingham, Memphis, and New Orleans. Numerous individuals claim to have spotted Sherry, yet none of these sightings have been substantiated or confirmed. The mystery surrounding Sherry's disappearance persisted despite the increased public awareness generated by the television program. Ryan Anderson, a resident of Greenville, manages a Facebook page titled Sherry Lynn Marler Still Missing. Anderson, along with a group of her friends, have been working on this case privately for years, dedicating incredible amount of time and work to it. In 2019, she made a post on her Facebook page. Again, viewers' discretion is highly advised. I'm choosing tonight to tell you everything I know about the 1984 disappearance of Sherry Lynn Marler from Greenville, Alabama. I'm out at a boiling point, and so are Becky Cobb and Melissa Conway, my best friends who have been with me every step of the way. We aren't burnt out, we are just overwhelmed with the stagnancy and blatant disinterest in finding this child. This has been a 10-year journey for us, one that involves thousands of hours of research, documentation, phone calls, years of spending sometimes 4 or 5 days in a row from sun up to sundown, up to our necks in mud, exhausted with our hands bleeding with blisters, digging with shovels through impossible pine tree roots and under piles of concrete slabs, working with cadaver dog teams, spending thousands of dollars on digging equipment and underwater camera systems to search all wells that could have caved in on us at any given time, walking and mapping wooded areas until we thought we'd have to just lay down there and sleep because we were so tired. Our work has paid off, but not well enough to get our hands on what's left of her and give her a proper burial and put an end to this horrible thing that happened to Sherry in '84. Based on the incredible mass of truly disturbing information we've received over the years from so many sources who are extremely credible but unwilling to publicly expose themselves, we believe Sherry Marler was murdered and dismembered by someone she knew very well, not her stepfather, and thrown into a hog pen in Butler County. We believe the person who murdered her is deceased. We strongly suspect there were 1 or 2 other people there at the time of her death, and that they are also now deceased. We strongly suspect that she was pregnant at the time. We believe she was a victim of a multiple family-based incest pedophilia ring that involved people from both Butler and Kearnshaw counties. We have documented video footage of working with 2 separate cadaver dogs, one of which is highly and expertly trained to locate old human DNA, who gave us irrefutable confirmed hits on human remains where we have been looking for and digging all these years. In the early spring of 2017, we began digging a 10.2-acre parcel in the woods that at the time we strongly suspected was the location of the hog farm where Sherry was murdered. But we have to prove there was ever a hog farm there first, because it was completely grown up and showed no sign of the hog farm operation. We had received details from multiple sources. There was a group of us, all female. We worked so damn hard that day, each taking turns digging, moving concrete debris, chopping down sticker bushes, and constantly looking for snakes. By the end of the day, we had nothing. We are all moms, and everyone had to eventually leave to pick up kids from school and get ready to cook dinner or run errands. Except for me and Becky Cobb. I had almost lost faith. Becky broke away from me and took a break to make a phone call on the nearest dirt road. So I prayed. Then my shovel hit concrete. I yelled at her. She came running. And almost 2 hours later, we had uncovered the entire perimeter of the concrete feeding pen, an old corrugated metal doorway, and after digging almost my entire arm's length down, we unearthed a pair of child's pants that had large dark splotchy stains. We spent the next hour digging up the entire area around it to make sure it wasn't a trash runoff or part of a trash dump of old clothes. There was nothing else. We followed protocol and immediately froze them, placed them in a cooler, collected all our info, notes, documentation, and turned all of it over to the Butler County Sheriff Department, who assured us it would be sent immediately to the DNA lab in Montgomery. Months later, I found out that the pens were sitting in a corner in a storage room somewhere in the courthouse, completely rotting and disintegrating. I contacted the Greenville Police Department, who later assured me they confiscated them and sent them into the DNA lab, but nothing could be found. I provided a photo of the pens and the stains on them below. Not long after that, finally, after years of constant emailing and calling and messaging surviving family members of the person I believe murdered Sherry, I received a reply. I met with this person and begged for any information that could help us. Specifically, any old photos of the hog pen as it was in 1984. Several weeks later, I received another call from this person who graciously and courageously invited me to their home to look through an old collection of photos they had recently found in a storage. The photos belonged to the spouse of the person I believe murdered Sherry. The photos were in an old Cheeseville box, and the person who gave me permission to view them had never looked through them. Long story short, I found multiple pictures stamp dated on the back of the hog farm in '84. It was in a state of demolition at the time, but still functional, with hogs still in it. At the bottom of the pile, I found a photo that was folded and creased, pressed over several times at the bottom left-hand corner, and the backing of the photo where a timestamp would show was removed or damaged. I unfolded the corner and time stood still. I knew exactly what I was looking at. But I am so emotionally tied to this case, I did not want to rely on myself. So I immediately and very strategically sent the photo to 6 people and asked them what it was. I gave them no information, no backstory, no clues. Just the photo and the simple question, what do you see in this photo? Each person is extremely educated and experienced and familiar with forensics. Each person immediately responded with the same answer. It is a severed human head. The whole head, not a decomposed head or a skull. On the ground below, a young hog, eyes and mouth wide open, hair still in place on the head. We chose to sit on the photo until we could secure a cadaver dog team willing to help us. It took several months to find one willing to work outside an agency, but we found the best. And 2 different dogs gave us irrefutable confirmed hits. We filmed everything. Then we called the Butler County Sheriff Department, who immediately responded and witnessed firsthand the dog alerting again. I chose that moment to show the then current sheriff a copy of the photo on my cell phone and was immediately threatened with arrest for not turning it in over sooner. Well, I couldn't because I never took possession of the photo, and I didn't because of what happened to the pens. I gave them the address of the person who had possession of the photo, and law enforcement immediately traveled to confiscate it. They then informed me that they sent the photo to the FBI, to which I've made more than several calls since May of 2018, and I've been told repeatedly that no one has ever heard or seen or received that photo from the FBI. I've not received one single phone call or email from any law enforcement regarding this photo or the documented confirmation of human remains where that photo was taken in '84. I don't know what else to do but what I'm doing now. I live 2.5 hours away from Greenville, and we can only dig when it's not raining, not hunting season, or mosquito season. I spend too much time traveling back and forth working on this to just continue and sit and wait for nothing to happen. I am well aware that this is an old cold case and that there are so many others that take precedent. But Sherry Marler is important to me and to my friends who have been right beside me this whole time, and countless others who have prayed for years. Yes, there is so much more I could write tonight, but this is what I need to expose right now. I'm tired of keeping all of this a secret. There is no reason to keep any of this a secret. We have a duty as a community to find and bury this child. The photos below are of the pens and the hog farm. I've also added one with a negative filter because it gives a different perspective. I also added a photo where the original damage, creases, were cleaned up and the lighting and saturation has been enhanced so you can see more clearly. Thanks to the hard work of Anderson and her friends, the case is unofficially somewhat solved. Although it's worth noting the evidence is not conclusive and there's a lot of unanswered questions still, at least the evidence Anderson provided is the most credible to date. All members of Sherry's family, including her biological father, underwent investigation and were ruled out as suspects. Despite the passage of time, Barry and Ralph Marler, Sherry's father, reconnected and were engaged at the time of his passing in 2013. Later, in Sherry's honor, her mom opened a restaurant in Maine, aiming to both honor her memory and raise awareness about missing children. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be posting new videos twice a week, delving deep into the occult, paranormal, murder, and all around mysteries from around the world. Until then, I see you next time, and stay thirsty, my friends.